is Cheryl Frances-Hoad, and I'm the composer of The Thought Machine, a new show for children involving hand shadows, live music, live song and poetry. The song cycle was commissioned by Oxford Leader. I used wonderful poems by Kate Wakeling, a new poetry book that she had written, and I was able to choose 10 poems from a whole book of poems.
I absolutely love going into schools and reading, performing poems, writing poems with children, writing big group poems. But this feels like a whole other thing to be taking. It feels so full of colour and life to see these poems casted in this amazing musical score and then brought to life with these wonderful images and these amazing performances in shadow and in music.
And the poems that particularly appealed to me were poems about moons, comets, stars, poems about machines, and poems about these fantastical mortals. People such as Hamster Man, Rita the Pirate and Skig the Warrior, who is more of a warrior than a warrior.
Was more of a warrior.
I'm quite keen on making theatre for children where everything is quite accessible, where a child can say, oh, that's a newspaper boat that he's made, now it's in shadow, or it's just a torch, or that's just his hands, which they often say. So it's really nice for them to be able to go, I could try this at home. And they go home and by the light of the bed lamp or the mobile phone, or whatever they happen to have, they can go on their own little fantasy adventure. It doesn't have to be perfect and produced, of course, but they can go, I'm really inspired by that. Look at that light shining through that jam jar. What does it, so magical? It's junk though, essentially, you know.
I thought trying to turn it into a form of theatre might add a dimension to it, perhaps make it more accessible for people who are new to live music. I really feel that it's incredibly important to bring live professional musicians to perform to children, because that was certainly the way that I became interested in classical music. I was so amazed by a professional cellist that I saw that was what I wanted to be.
There's an enormous amount of multimedia sort of imagery. So they've got the images from the shadows. They've also got song and text, and with the instruments as well, it provides a whole other level. Different light, different movements, different colours, different stories. We think there's an awful lot to keep them engaged and to inspire their imaginations, most importantly, throughout the show.
But also importantly, it's not dumbed down. The music is not. It is written for kids, but it is real, serious, contemporary classical music that just happens to be also accessible and has all this amazing stuff going on that hopefully will allow them to relate to it in a way that they just maybe wouldn't be able to without everything else.
When I write, I think very theatrically, so I imagine the movements of the machine and I imagine the lengthenings of the shadows, and I try and translate those gestures that I picture in my mind into musical gestures. So for me it comes very naturally to see something turned into theatre, and it's a wonderful experience.